What's up, moviegoers? Welcome to the Markio Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony. Now, on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about a Netflix show called Altered Carbon. Altered Carbon is based off of the 2002 novel of the same name by English author Richard K. Morgan, and basically tells a story that in a world where consciousness can be transferred to different bodies. Now, the series takes place over 360 years in the future, and with most episodes set in the year 2384. So as you can see, it's very, very far into the future. It takes place in this city called Bay City, and basically the story is a person's memories and consciousness can be decanted in disc-shaped device called a cortical stack or a stack, which is implanted in the vertebrae at the back of your neck. Now, with this, these storage devices are so of like a alien design, so to speak, and have been reverse engineered and mass produced. Physical human or synthetic bodies called sleeves and stacks can be transferred to new bodies after someone dies. So basically, here's an example. Say that I die, right? The body that I have is gone, but my memories will go into another person's body. But that person will only look like they did when they were alive. So they'll have my memories, but I'll look like them. It's a very confusing, interesting way of doing things and telling a story, but the way this show did it was really, really good. The first season of the show stars Joel Kinnaman, who played RoboCop in the RoboCop reboot, and he was on House of Cards. This is season 1, which consisted of 10 episodes, and season 2 of Altered Carbon premieres on Netflix February 27th, 2020. And that season, which is going to be very, very interesting, has Anthony Mackie in the lead role this time around. And I think that takes place farther into the future than season 1. So I don't know if they're following all 3 books or just one book and taking their own way with things. It's going to be interesting to see. And the main character is Takeshi Kovacs. And let me just say that it's from the start of the first episode until the last episode, which is the 10th episode of season 1, you are drawn into this man's mind. You don't know what's happening. Everything is thrown amok, literally. And he has a secret. Certain other characters in the show have a secret. And everything just starts to unravel and become this whole big, murder mystery of what's going on. I mean, for a show like this, they can definitely keep it going for a long time. It's basically an anthology series, so to speak. Have different actors portray the role over time in different seasons. It'll work. Bring in new faces, new people to play with, or bring in reoccurring faces from previous years and previous seasons. It'll be great. If you loved Blade Runner with that cyberpunk sci-fi feel, you'll love Altered Carbon. I fell in love with this show. I figured, let me see what it's like, let me give it a try. And I wasn't disappointed at all. It's really, really well done. There is a character in the show called Edgar Poe, based off of Edgar Allan Poe, and he runs a hotel called The Raven, and his character is very underrated, and the things that he does and he can do in the show is just fantastic, and seeing him interact with the cast and the other characters on the show is just really, really great. Now, like I said, season 1 consists of 10 episodes, and all episodes are between 45 to 65 minutes long. Each episode differs in time based on how long the story is, but it does take a while to get used to. I'll have to admit it did start off a little slow between episodes 1 and 3, and then from 4 to 7 was really, really good, and then it slowed down from 8 to 10. I have to say that I was really kind of disappointed with episode 10. I wanted more, I wanted something more to happen at the end of the episode with episode 10. I'm not going to give too much away because this is not a spoiler episode. I don't want to give anything away because I always like to give my listeners and viewers and movie people out there the chance to see something and enjoy it for what they can enjoy it for and have that experience like I did. I'm not one for telling spoilers. If I did, then there's no reason to watch the show. I mean, if I tell you what's going on, then, it takes away the atmosphere of what you can anticipate when you see a show like this. There's a whole range of cast of characters in this show, and it's done really well. It's slow moving. It's fast. The action, let me say, the action is really, really good. The show is an in-your-face show. There's a lot of crazy sex scenes and a lot of crazy violence. But hey, it's Netflix. They can get away with it. And it's good that it is on Netflix, because if it was on any other show or any other channel or primetime channel, they wouldn't have the chance to do so. It doesn't matter if it's HBO or Showtime. Netflix is where it's at. Netflix for a show like this is needed. So I'm very happy that this was on Netflix. Now, the show is based off of the novel of the same name. And if you didn't read that, do so. You can either watch the show first, then read the book, or read the book first and then watch the show. For me, they're one and the same. It's actually very interesting to see that how some things differ from the book and the show, but, other things that are kept in there. Of course, the first season is 10 episodes, and the book is a little longer than that, of course, but it's done really, really well. The acting is great. What blew me away was the CGI for everything that was happening around the main characters. The city that it takes place in, Bay City, was great. It gives you that futuristic feel of what things could look like in the future, if the future looks like that. We never know. I will admit that after the first season ended, I was very curious to see what they were going to do with the second season. It did take a while for them to do the second season, and I'm very happy to see that it's coming February 27th, 2020. And, if you're listening to this episode later on after that date, watch this show. It's great. You won't be disappointed. And, it's just a great show for me. It's like one of those shows where you want to watch something, it's like, all right, let me just put this on, see how good it is. And you'll be blown away by it. And, with the story is, how you have the cortical stack and, your body's a sleeve and you take this memory to that memory, put it into someone else, but you're still that other person. But then that other person doesn't know who you are. It's just so interesting to see. Some might find it very confusing because they don't really actually go into or in depth with what the stack or what the sleeves do and what they can do and how you can, change over time. But they do give you a clear explanation in certain episodes, even the first episode and certain times, and how everything works with all the characters and their memories and where the memories are placed. If you've never seen this show, do so. You'll fall in love with it like I did. I can't rave about this show enough. Netflix is really coming out with great content for original shows. Sometimes, the first seasons are always great, and after that the seasons falter and fall dramatically. So I'm hoping that season 2 of Altered Carbon is good, and hopefully they have more seasons of Altered Carbon, because if they do, you can get different actors in these roles who can play Takeshi Kovacs, and you can continue this show for close to 6-7 seasons. I would love this show to go 6-7 seasons, or incorporate all the other books that are involved in the Richard K. Morgan saga of Altered Carbon. Do yourself a favor, put on Netflix, search for Altered Carbon, and watch this show. Binge watch it in one night, or binge watch it in one weekend, or binge watch it over a week. Like I said before, it'll take some time to get used to. There are parts and episodes where it is slow, but it pays off in the end. I highly recommend it, and it's a very interesting genre of cyberpunk meets sci-fi. And if you're a fan of Blade Runner, as I stated before, you will love this show for what it is and what it can do and what it will do. And it's one of the most diverse shows I've seen because the cast of characters are great. You'll see familiar faces from movies and TV shows that you've seen. And just to see them on a show like this is really, really fun and really entertaining. So, Season 1 of Altered Carbon consists of 10 episodes and is now on Netflix. Season 2 premieres February 27th, 2020 on Netflix. And that season, the second season of Altered Carbon, will only consist of 8 episodes. So be sure to check out Altered Carbon, which is now on Netflix. My review is a 5 out of 5 for Altered Carbon. Ladies and gentlemen, that does it for today's episode. I'm your host, Anthony, and you've been listening to the Markio Podcast.